What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Face Off Sports Network. I'm Anthony Servino, joined by Steve D'Angelo at Fantasy Savvy. Football Friday, NFL Week 12. One game in the books, one snowy game in the books last night, and a lot more to go. Fantasy football playoffs right around the corner. Steve, what's going on? We have a lot to do today.
Yeah, man. Week 12, it is right around the corner. Last week for FFPC, Anthony and I are battling for the playoff spot in the one league that we are in together. So we'll get interesting. Yeah, interesting game last night. There was parts of that game you couldn't even see what the hell was going on because the snow was crazy. I was rooting for Nick Chubb. He got into the end zone twice. That was great to see. He's overcome a lot. Jerry Jeudy had a decent game. Bad game for Pickens and Najee. They kind of hurt you last night, but somewhat expected, a Thursday night game on the road in the snow. Steelers have been red hot. This was kind of, almost set up for a little bit of a letdown game for the Steelers, and it happened. But yeah, big week this week. 6 teams on a bye. Some really big names, especially the Bills and the Bengals, and also the Falcons too. Bijan. So we got to get into these dig down deep a little bit here and help the people out.
Yeah, I think we have 6 teams on a bye this week. That's insane. Yeah. And we have one more. Week 14, we have another bye again.
Yeah, so next week I think we're good with no buys, and then week 14 we're going with the bye again once again.
But let's get into the questions.
Yeah, and if you guys are watching on Twitter or Facebook, head over to YouTube, watch on there, like, subscribe. That really helps us. If you guys want to bump the line tonight, send us a super chat. Also, we're going to announce too a jersey giveaway. You guys subscribe to the show. We're giving away a jersey all the way until Christmas. So subscribe to the show. Send us a super chat to bump the line. If not, we're just going to go in order of the questions we get. Quincy Jones starts us off tonight. He says, is Hunt a top 8 to 10 running back this week without Pacheco? Start him over Tracy. And number 2, no Purdy. Do I start Downs, Marvin Harrison Jr., or Quentin Johnson over either Debo or Jennings? Who do you start there? So we'll start first with Hunt without Pacheco. Is Pacheco definitely ruled out?
Yeah, I'm seeing the report now that Isaiah Pacheco will not return. That's per Andy Reid.
And that makes sense because they're playing Carolina. Do you need to bring them back against Carolina? No.
It would be a good warm-up game at the worst.
Yeah. So 8 to 10 here. I mean, top 10 running back here for Hunt. Do you have him in your top 10 this week?
I'll have him right around number 11 or 12 once I lock the rankings in. Last week was the first game he really didn't do much from a fantasy football point of view, and Buffalo on paper was a good matchup. This is the best matchup against Carolina. He gets a multitude of touches inside the 5-yard line. I would not surprise me if he sees, at least 1 touchdown. I would probably even bet him up to 2 touchdowns this week.
Yeah, it's possibly his last game to showcase him, getting playing time when Pacheco comes back, potentially next week. So, yeah, Hunt against the Panthers. They should have a nice lead, good game script. They should be controlling this game all day long, especially coming off the loss against the Bills. So, definitely could work his way into that top 10 for sure. And, you're expecting to get into the end zone, maybe 80, 90 yards, maybe 100 yards total. We'll see, but definitely into the end zone at least once. Yeah. So Hunt definitely obviously a very strong play now that Pacheco is indeed out. Second part of that question there, start him over Tracy. So are we starting him over your boy, Tyrone Tracy?
Yeah, it's close. But the matchup is just too good to ignore. If there's a way we can get both in your starting lineup, I don't know what you have in the flex. I would ideally want to use both. I mean, this is bye again. 6 teams on a bye. Like, do you really have other players than Kareem Hunt or Tyrone Tracy to use? If you did, great. You drafted well.
Yeah, Tracy has a good matchup against the Bucs as well. And then you get Tommy Cutlets coming in this week. So maybe that helps the offense a little bit. No Neighbors. It sounds like he missed practice today. So it sounds like he may be out.
I like Tracy because, he's a pass catcher, wide receiver in college, converted to running back. I think with Tommy DeVito, I think he's going to check that ball down a lot. Remember, he had Saquon last year to check the ball down to. And
Yeah.
Tyrone Tracy, a very skilled pass catcher out of the backfield, not used enough as a receiver, only one game over 3 targets. I think we see a much higher PPR floor down the stretch, but I have seen Hunt slightly over Tracy, but again, if you can use both, use both.
Yeah, and the Giants said they are going to lean on the run game this week with DeVito coming in. So DeVito will be running the ball. That may hurt Tracy a little bit, maybe around the goal line. Maybe DeVito runs it in the end zone. Only had one rushing touchdown when he started last year, though. All right, and then last question, no Purdy. Do I start Downs, Marvin Harrison Jr., Quentin Johnson over Debo or Jennings? Yes, with freaking Brandon Allen. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they got Josh Dobbs. Like, if Josh Dobbs was starting, I'd have a little more hope for Debo and Jennings. But maybe without Purdy, they kind of rely on Debo a little bit more screen passes, more carries to Debo this week. That is quite possible. I think you stick with Downs, man. I mean, he's been pretty money. Marvin Harrison Jr. is nice. Even Quentin Johnson's not bad this week, but I don't mind using Downs over Debo and Jennings this week. They're playing the Lions. It's a 49 total. It's going to be a lot of points that game. Richardson's going to have to pass a lot, and Downs has continued to be money week in, week out, despite who's really playing at quarterback.
It probably, for me, would be Downs over, because I like, all three. Quentin, good matchup, low volume, touchdown reliant. Downs, quarterback, matchup proof. And then Marvin Harrison Jr., I love his matchup this week. I think you can make a case for either Downs or MHJ over Debo. Like, Jennings would be the one I would keep in there just because Debo has been so unreliable. And again, this 49ers team, it hasn't looked right to me all year.
Yeah.
And now with no Purdy, like, that hurts. And this is a must-win game. This game could decide which one of these teams make the playoffs. So, obviously a down year for the 49ers, but this is a catastrophic loss at quarterback. And I don't know how much I trust either one of these players, but I guess I would keep Jennings in. But if you don't trust that situation at quarterback, Green Bay, their defense is deceptively good. I might just start Downs and Marvin.
Yeah, I don't know what Jennings is going to do, honestly, with Brandon Allen. I'm kind of scared myself. I mean, Brandon Allen stinks. So I'm kind of scared. Maybe they go to Dobbs at halftime and the things pick up. He's also saying there's going to be some weather in this game. Arizona and also the Niners game is going to have some weather as well. I see Arizona scattered showers look pretty likely here. I doubt we're talking about a full downpour, but it should be wet enough for a slick field and ball. And then the San Francisco Green Bay game in Lambeau, a rain shower or two is possible, though for now, models hold off the rain until just after the game. Temperatures in the 40s, so it doesn't sound too bad there. D Money says Schoonmaker or Sanders, and Schoonmaker, I believe he had 10 targets without Ferguson going out with the concussion last week, or Jatavian Sanders, who 2 weeks ago had a nice game yardage wise, and then the week before the bye week he scored a touchdown, I believe just 2 catches, but he's been coming on a little bit. Chiefs are a pretty good matchup. I think that the Panthers are bringing back Tommy Tremble this week, but I don't,
Great.
Play Jatavian Sanders. What are you going to do with Tommy freaking Tremble? So this one's, Shoemaker, he may get a bunch of targets here from Rush once again. It's not a bad one. What do you think here between these two?
So he went 6 for 56, 10 targets, 11.6 PPR points. Ferguson is already ruled out. We don't even know if CD Lamb's going to play. The thing that worries me here, Dan Campbell, not Dan Campbell, the Washington head coach, Dan Quinn, his number one defense in Dallas practiced against Cooper Rush. If there's anybody who can completely decapitate and dismantle Cooper Rush, not like it's hard to do, like it's going to be Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
Schoonmaker, yes, I do see a world where he's getting that type of volume again, but Jatavian Sanders is coming on. The quarterback, Bryce Young, does look okay. He looks like he's playing some pretty good football, and Kansas City is piss poor against a tight end. I might lean, if you need some ceiling, I might lean Sanders, but I do think Schoonmaker will bring a higher floor just because he might see 15 targets this week.
Yeah, I don't mind going with Sanders either. D Money also says Anthony Richardson or May. I don't know what he said after that, but Anthony Richardson or May. This is a close one, but I think I like Richardson a little bit more. I just think that he's going to have to put up a bunch. He's going to get a lot of possessions against the Lions. They're going to get up. He's going to have to throw the ball. Maybe he turns it over once or twice. Maybe, sails balls over guys' heads three or four times again. But the rushing yards will be there. I think he'll fall into the end zone with his legs at least once. He may even throw a touchdown. He'll probably air some out to Pierce and maybe, Adonai Mitchell. So I think I give Richardson the slight bump here against the Lions versus May. What do you think against Miami? Who's Miami's defense is playing better?
Yeah, I'll go Anthony Richardson here. If we get the Anthony Richardson we saw last week, there's some production to be had against the Lions. Miami, their defense looks good. And I think this game could get really ugly real quick. And I get there could be some garbage time for Drake May, but I'd rather go Anthony Richardson because this is now the second game this year he's popped for over 30 quarterback points. And I don't think he threw a pick last week. He was efficient. Maybe Steichen is kind of working up the game plan to exploit Richardson's skill sets. Maybe the benching for Joe Flacco lit a fire in Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. He showed a lot. Everybody's bashing him, everybody's doubting him, and he leads that game-winning drive against the Jets last week. Throwing some nice passes too on that drive. So yeah, I don't mind going with Richardson this week. Jared says, "How you guys feeling about Jennings with no Purdy? Will we start Pop Douglas or Demarcus Robinson over him?" I'm not sure I would use either two of those guys, even though I am concerned about Jennings. I still think I'd go Jennings rather than these two guys.
I still might go Juwan Jennings. Pop Douglas is interesting. Let me just pull him up here for a second. And then the other one is DeMarcus. See, DeMarcus is interesting because he's had a couple of nice games since.
Yeah. Hasn't done anything in the last couple of games, though.
I think it was just last game. But, I think had like a 3 or 4 touchdown run in 2 games since Puka and Kupp has come back. And there's a world where Philly is going to say, okay, let's let Demarcus Robinson beat us. And Demarcus Robinson as a number one, and this is where I went wrong. When Demarcus Robinson was the number one earlier this year, I went all in, took him everywhere, was ecstatic. And Jim Coventry, who I do the RotoWire show with, he's like, he put it in perspective. And that's what's good about him a lot. He puts things in perspective because I like to get overzealous on things. He's like, listen, Demarcus Robinson, when he went on his run last year, it was because there was one guy out. He was still the number 2. When Demarcus Robinson's a number 1, he's shut down because he's not a number 1 wide receiver. But as a 2, or even now in this situation as a 3, he's good facing the nickel corner. So I don't hate Demarcus Robinson this week. But again, Pop Douglas is probably a little bit safer. Or Jennings. It's between really Jennings and Pop Douglas to me. Like at least Douglas over 9 PPR points, 3 straight, 5 targets in 3 straight.
Right. He's
going to have a floor. Miami's secondary is good. But again, if we're expecting garbage time, then maybe there's something there.
Yeah, you're kind of just taking a guess with Jennings. I mean, with Robinson, he had those 4 touchdowns in weeks 8 and week 9, the last 2 weeks, just 1 catch for 23. Last week, 2 catches for 19. Still 9 targets. But I still think, you're kind of just rolling the dice a little bit with Robinson. Yeah, Douglas a little bit safer. And I think despite Brandon Allen, his, not being a good quarterback, hopefully you get Dobbs and then Jennings kind of steps it up. Livewire says no snow predicted in Green Bay. Snow predicted in Seattle all day. I'm seeing rain, but that certainly could turn to snow depending on the temperature there. Once again, Pacheco is officially out. And Purdy is also out this week. Brandon Allen is going to get the start as of now for the Niners. Livewire says pick 2, flex Tracy, Ramondre, Marvin Harrison Jr., or Jennings. So I think we're going to take Jennings out of the equation here because of the quarterback situation. So who do you like out of these 3, Tracy, Ramondre, and Marvin Harrison Jr., to pick 2 for flex?
I would go Tracy and Marvin slightly over Ramondre Stevenson. Tracy has the matchup. I love the matchup for Marvin. Ramondre, again, the issue with Ramondre is he could be scripted out.
Yeah.
Again, like he's given us some really nice weeks, and then like the poor weeks is usually game script driven. I'm just going to look up how he does against Miami in his career, see if that sways me in any direction. But Ram against Miami, a couple of nice games.
They're not really. Go ahead.
I do think it's safer to go Tracy and Marvin.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. I kind of like Marvin this week as well. A little bit of weather there, but a little bit of rain shouldn't be too much of an issue. And this is a good matchup. So I kind of agree with Anthony. This game could kind of get out of hand a little bit. If Tyreek and Waddle and Jonnu and Achane go off a little bit, Miami's defense is playing better. And this could be a negative game script for Ramondre. And if he's not catching balls out of the backfield, he could have a underwhelming rushing total and maybe not fall into the end zone. So I don't mind those other two options as well. Al says, hello, everyone. What's up, Al? Dan says, hi. And he says, hey, who should I start? Cade Otton returning from the bye or your boy, Anthony, Will Dissly at tight end?
Cade
Otton getting the Giants and then Dissly getting
Ravens.
The Ravens, right?
I
keep thinking Dissly's still on Seattle for some reason. Go ahead.
Even Evans coming back, I don't think it affects Otton that much because I think Otton is more in that Chris Godwin, middle of the field, intermediate route type of role. Even though the last time we saw him against San Francisco, he still had 8 targets, a high floor, right around 8 PPR points. But the Giants are actually number 1 against tight end. There are situations I'm starting in this week because he is going to get volume, but Will Dissly is hot right now, and the matchup against Baltimore is good. I think we could see some points on Monday Night Football.
You going with the Dissler?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Otton. He's been too good.
He's pretty safe. He's safer.
Yeah, he's too consistent. I mean, Dissly's good. He had a nice game last week, 80 and a touchdown. But I gotta go with Cade Otton. I mean, even with Evans returning, I'll stick with the guy who's been, pretty money for the last month, ever since Godwin went out. I mean, even before Godwin went out, he was starting to pick up the pace a little bit. Zach Litton says, yo, what's up? SH35 says, bench all Niners players this week or run at least Debo or Jennings. Yeah, I mean, I think Debo, again, he may get an uptick in carries, maybe screen routes, reverse passes, with Brandon Allen there. That's possible. They may have to lean on the playmaking ability of Debo a little bit. Jennings, he's running routes. Is Brandon Allen going to get the ball to him? I don't know. I mean, Jennings maybe just boxes guys out like he did last week, and Allen just kind of throws it in those windows. But I think you still use both of these guys depending on your options. But, they're not terrible. It's just a little concerning with Brandon Allen in there.
I'm more concerned than you are, it sounds like, because, we've seen this Green Bay defense. They've smothered some quarterbacks this year. And this isn't Brock Purdy. Allen, Dobbs, Dobbs doesn't really move the needle for me. I'm not saying bench them all. CMC, you certainly play.
Kittle.
I think Kittle you play. But these wide receivers, they're the ones I'm really worried about.
Yeah. In some ways, like I said, I think Debo might be the better start just because he can get those easier passes maybe and get the handoffs than Jennings this week. So I have leagues where I have Debo and Jennings. I might have to go back to Debo this week after starting Debo the last 2 times and Jennings outperforming him. Now I might have to go back to Debo again. Jordan Hicks says, should I start Jalen Hurts or Justin Herbert, who I think he's up to 13 touchdowns with just 1 interception, playing Baltimore this week, or do you like Jalen Hurts against the Rams? 49.5 total in that game with the Rams, Philly, and then we got a 51 total in the Baltimore Chargers game. So Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football right there. What do you like?
This is close. Hurts has been money. He's getting it done with his legs. The arm is struggling a little bit. And then you have Herbert, who's been on a tear since week 8. He's thrown multiple touchdown passes in 3 out of his past 4 games, 4 straight with a touchdown pass. And in the game where he threw 1 against Tennessee, he also ran for 1. So he has accounted for multiple touchdowns now in every game since week 8. The yards, at least 279 in 3 out of 4. this matchup is outstanding. Cincinnati 29th against quarterbacks. He puts up 29.4. Baltimore's 30th. Is it crazy to say Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts?
No, I don't think so. Definitely not. No Devonta Smith for Philly. That could potentially hurt them a little bit. Obviously, more reliance on Dallas Goedert. These teams did play last year in October, early in the season, when Philly was still, kind of on fire before they fell apart. Hurts did throw for 300 yards in that game. He did run for 72 yards in that game as well.
I mean, the dude scored a rushing touchdown every game since week 6 and every game, but I'm sorry. No, he scored a rushing touchdown every game since week 7. And 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. So that's, if we bench Hurts, that's what we're worried about.
Yeah. Well, did you see that stat with Barkley? How many times he's went down at like the 1 yard line?
Yep.
It's just, I don't know what happened, 9, 10 times this year. And then Hurts just keeps cleaning them up. So yeah, I mean, you'd expect him to get another rushing touchdown or 2. Again, high total here. Maybe no Devonta, hurts them a little bit. Rams, this is a big game for them. They lost to Miami, but they bounced back against New England. Now they're back home. Philly's been on a hot streak. They've won 6 in a row or 7 in a row now. So rather 6 in a row. So maybe they fall off here. Maybe the Rams get the win. I don't mind using Herbert against Baltimore. What's going to be another shootout? Johnny P38 says half point PPR, start Ramondre or Christian Watson. That's an interesting one. I think I'm going to go with Christian Watson. Anthony, we talked about this on, I think it was Monday's show, and Christian Watson has a pattern of finally when he's healthy, he starts off with last week 4 for 150, and then he goes on a streak where he has about 4 or 5 games where he just lights up the scoreboard, getting into the end zone yardage wise. And then he ends up getting hurt again. And we never really see the true potential of Christian Watson. So I think Christian Watson is going to get it done again this week. So I'm going Christian Watson.
Yeah, this is a little bit close because I love Christian Watson. Yes, he is a streaky player, but I do feel safer. Like Watson, he's either going to go off or he's going to be a dud. Where at least we're going to get a semblance of a floor. Miami, they've been really stout actually against running backs. Wow. As I'm looking at the numbers now, since week 7, the most fantasy points given up to a running back was 17 to Ray Davis, and then Cook had 11 that game. But everybody else, they really minimized Abdullah last week for what that's worth. And people are going to say, well, Tyler Goodson, there was no JT. The one that they minimized that jumps off the page is Kyren Williams, 12.2 PPR points. And we know Kyren was absolutely money for a run there. So they've been exceptional against the running back position outside of the Buffalo and Seattle game earlier. Ram did go off earlier this year, but it seems like from weeks 1 to 5, they were gashed by running backs. And then coming out of the bye, this team has really tightened it up. I'm still going to lean Ram here, but it's close.
Yeah, and the other thing for Christian Watson is he's playing way over Dontavian Wicks now. He's playing more than Jaden Reed now. So everybody's in love with Jaden Reed, but the last few weeks he's been getting ranked higher than Watson. It might be Watson who kind of takes over, or maybe Romeo Doubs this week too. But again, I think I like Watson, a little more upside. If you need that upside, if you want to play it safer, you can go with Ramondre.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, acoustic. My bad. That was pretty easy. You just spelled a little different. Must-win matchup, and all of a sudden I'm out. Neighbors and out Neighbors and Devonta Smith. Amir Abdullah or Dylan Lobb. Wow. I might have to drop Pacheco for someone as well due to bye weeks. Jesus, rough. That is rough, brother. Amir Abdullah or Dylan Lobb. I think I got to go with Abdullah. At least I've seen Abdullah play. I don't know what the hell Dylan Lobb's going to do. I have no freaking clue. I may have to use Dylan Lobb in a league. I actually have a waiver pick up for going into one league where I have Bijan, Chase Brown out this week. So I have to go with Dylan Lobb this week. And somebody already snatched Madison from me. So
yeah,
Abdullah. Go ahead.
The Raiders beat writer Tashawn Reed from The Athletic says that Amir Abdullah is expected to lead the backfield. Madison, Zamir White, both doubtful. Amir Abdullah should be the guy. He had 10.7 PPR points last week. But he's been playing a lot more. Abdullah actually led the backfield in snaps last week, even before the bye, led the backfield again with 49 snaps. So he's been playing, especially over Zamir White, and he's probably going to be the guy. Denver's middle of the pack, hopefully we get, can we get 10 PPR points? Can he fall into the end zone? We have to temper expectations with Amir Abdullah. But, Love had a couple of games earlier this year where he was active, not a lot of snaps, only one attempt for 0 yards. So we don't even have anything to go off of for this guy.
Yeah, Amir Abdullah, I believe, wasn't he? He was a second-round pick by the Lions back in 2015.
I'm sorry, he fumbled on his only carry this year.
Who, Dylan Lobb?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. So yeah, Abdullah is the guy. Jared says, or Alec Pierce over Jennings. I do like Alec Pierce this week, but I still think that's closer, but I still think I'd go Jennings over him. Johnny 38 says start Kyler Murray at Seattle or Baker Mayfield at the New York Giants. Mayfield getting Evans back. Mayfield, third in passing touchdowns in the NFL. Kyler's certainly playing well of late. He's played well, then he struggled, then he's playing great. Very good ball again. Seattle is not a bad matchup. It is a nice matchup. What do you think here between the two? I think I might like Kyler better.
It's close because I do like Baker a lot, getting Evans back. And we talked about, Evans dominates the New York Giants historically. But Kyler, this is not new territory, but, they've been here with Cliff Kingsbury, but they have something to play for down the stretch. We have the 49ers reeling. Seattle don't look like a threat. The Rams are coming up a little bit, but they're in first place. This is a must-win game against Seattle. You could separate yourself a little bit more in the division. The biggest issue for Kyler Murray is his health. If he stays healthy down the stretch coming off the bye, Kyler played well in a really tough run between weeks 5 to 10. 28 points against the 49ers. He 23 against the Chargers and beat them on national TV. 25 against Miami, number 1 against quarterbacks. 31 against the Jets, number 9 against quarterbacks. He's been playing well as a thrower and as a runner. And I think Seattle, I'm willing to roll the dice on Kyler. And he gets Seattle in 2 out of his next 3 games.
Right. Plus, it's a game where it could get back and forth, shootout, whereas the Giants, maybe it's just more of a slow game. A lot of running the football. Giants already said they want to run the football. This is a game where maybe the Bucs want to get the running backs involved too, as well, just because the type of game is. So, yeah, I think I go Kyler. Seattle's kind of had their number. They've won the last 5 matchups against Arizona, but obviously different regime here with McDonald in there and no more Pete Carroll. All right, Live Wire says CMC is going to feast with no Purdy. Yeah, certainly could catch a bunch of balls in this game and just be totally featured in one last-ditch effort to save the Niners season. Live Wire says, I also think Jordan Mason gets some more touches this week to help CMC because Seattle's run D is soft.
Well,
that is
they're
possible.
playing Seattle.
No.
They're playing Green Bay.
Playing Green Bay, yes.
In Green Bay, you can run on Green Bay. That is their Achilles heel is running the football. You can run against them.
Yeah, Jay Hang. How's it hanging? Hey, balls hanging. Jawan Jennings, Christian Watson, or Goddard at the flex?
Ooh.
Goddard, no Devonta. So we've seen in the past, when one of these 2 guys is out, Goddard gets an uptick for sure in his numbers. So he probably is the safer play. Christian Watson, again, is getting the snaps over Wicks and Reed, running more routes. He's hot right now, so I don't mind using Watson again for the upside, but this could be a nice game for Dallas Goedert here.
Yeah. The last 3 weeks against tight ends, the NFL average in points allowed is 15.6 in fantasy. I'm on Green Bay. I'm sorry. Their Green Bay's been shutting down tight ends. I want to see the Rams here. Let me pull them up. Okay, so yeah.
The Rams haven't been good against tight ends.
They have or haven't been?
Haven't been.
Yeah.
6 for 63 against Hunter Henry, 3 for 45 against Jonnu. AJ Barner caught 4 balls for 27.
Oliver lit him up. Bowers lit him up. Kraft lit him up. I'm going to go Goddard here. They've been leaky against the tight ends all year.
Yeah, both good options there, man. Jennings is the one guy. Just again, the quarterback situation, we don't know what the hell Brandon Allen's going to look
And
like with Jennings.
even last week, Hunter Hooper, Austin Hooper, and Hunter
Hunter
Henry.
Hooper.
One went for 15, the other went for 9.5.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
fire him up.
A cement feet AJ Barner caught 4 balls for 27 yards. Trome Force says, should I trade DeAndre Hopkins or Ramondre? My running backs are Barkley, Monty, and Mostert. My other wide receivers are Tyreek, Cup, McLaurin, JSN, and Mooney. So should I trade D-Hop for Ramondre? Is what he's saying. His running backs, Barkley, Monty, and Mostert. And his receivers are looking pretty juicy. So I would do that trade.
So you would be trading, yeah, you need running back help with Mostert as your third. It looks like Mostert might have lost that job to Jalen Wright. And so you could afford to lose D-Hop, and you're really in a really nice spot with, Tyreek, Cup, McLaurin, JSN who's coming on, Mooney. Yeah, you definitely do this deal.
Yep. And we answered this. I don't know if it was from Jordan or maybe this or somebody else, but we did go with Herbert slightly.
Herbert. Yes.
Herbert over Hurts. Yeah. Trone Force, I need 2 wide receivers this week and a flex. Tyreek, Cup, D-Hop, McLaurin, and JSN. So 3 guys out of those 5 right there. I think I'm going with Tyreek. I'm going with Cup. And I'm probably going to go with, that's a tough one between McLaurin and JSN. What do you think who do you like here, Ant?
2 wide receivers in the flex. So Tyreek, Cup, and it is close between, McLaurin gets Dallas. JSN's been red hot. I might go JSN. That could be a shootout. I get weather could be an issue, but JSN double-digit targets in back-to-back games. He's starting to come on a lot and get leaned on by Geno. So I think I would go JSN slightly over Terry. My big concern with Terry is the usage, and they're not moving him around the formation. Cliff Kingsbury is not doing that.
Would you maybe take out Cup and go with JSN and McLaurin? Philly's not necessarily a great matchup. I mean, their defense and their secondary has been playing pretty well.
But they're going to throw the football. They're still going to throw it. Cup's still going to get targets.
Yeah, D-Hop's the one guy I'm definitely sitting there. It's very close between Cup, McLaurin, and JSN. Pick 2 of those 3. Tyreek's got to be in there for sure. Jose Rodriguez says, is good trade Lamb right now? Is it good to trade Lamb right now? Lamb for Ladd and Devontae Adams.
I think I would do that. There's just so much. There's more stability with Ladd right now. DA is going to be DA. Lamb's a significant injury away, or I don't even know if it has to be significant from them shutting him down. Like, there's a world where Lamb does not finish the season. They're looking ahead to next year.
I don't mind. I think that trade's probably better for you too. The quarterback downgrade, you got Adams. He should finish out the season strong with Rodgers, or be decent enough. And then you get Ladd too as a bonus. So it helps the depth of your team. You're going into the playoffs. You get an injury, you got that extra depth, which always helps. We do have a super chat here from Steven Drake's $4.99. We appreciate that, brother. I have Chuba. Should I pick up Jonathan Brooks or is Mason a better stash? Also, I have Aaron Jones. Should I stash Akers or pick up Abdullah? I don't want Abdullah past this week unless you really need him. So I would pick up Akers. I mean, you don't really need to pick up Akers, but Akers would be the guy for sure. And I would go with Brooks instead of Mason as well. What do you think, Ant? Get the direct handcuffs is my thinking,
Yeah, and Carolina has a good run schedule down the stretch, especially in the fantasy playoffs, I believe. And you really want to corner that backfield. Like, if Chuba goes down, Brooks is going to have a large role.
Yeah, I agree.
Akers as well.
Appreciate that super chat. Again, guys, if you want to cut the line a little bit, send us a super chat. If you're watching on Twitter or Facebook, head over to YouTube. Make sure you guys are like, subscribe, share. Hit that notification button. We really appreciate Face Off Sports Network, fffaceoff.com. We got you covered. Rocky says Neighbors has a groin injury. Are we worried about that? Is this a Darius Slayton game? It could be Darius Slayton. Could be Jalen Hyatt. I mean, could be Wandale. Could be the running backs.
Matchup's going to be great. Tampa's defense is not good. I think it's going to be a big Tracy game. I love Theo Johnson this week. If Neighbors sits, maybe it's Slayton, but we also have to realize this is DeVito. It's going to be I also was going to think it's going to be an ugly game. But ugly, like he might throw a couple picks, fumble, but there still could be fantasy production there. But yeah, I don't need, maybe Neighbors doesn't play. If he does not play, then go Darius Slayton. But I think if Neighbors plays, I don't know. Can we trust Slayton?
No, I mean, I mean, he might not be terrible. What is he going to catch? 2 passes?
Yeah.
He's going to have to catch a bomb. So, yeah, if Neighbors is out, I don't think Slayton's, he has the rapport. He played with DeVito last year for 6, 7, 8 games, whatever it was. So, not a terrible start in a pinch if Neighbors is out. But yeah, I don't know if Neighbors is going to play. He didn't practice today, so we'll see what happens tomorrow, but it doesn't sound good right now. You never like those late week injuries for your players. Janet Turr says Jawan Jennings, Chuba, Tyrone Tracy need one for my flex. Again, I think we're ruling out Jennings. I mean, I'd hate to totally dismiss him because he's been so damn good, but the quarterback change is just, I don't know what the hell we're going to get again. So I think got to go with one of these running backs. Jonathan Brooks will return this week against the Chiefs. How much is he going to get used? We don't really know. Chuba's definitely going to still be heavily involved. They paid him. He's been playing great. He should still get the leg up here over Jonathan Brooks this week. Who do you like?
I'm going Tracy. If you only need one, Tyrone Tracy that has the matchup, he's going to have the opportunity. And Chuba gets Kansas City. That is not a great spot for him. Obviously, if you're in a bind, in a different world, if you didn't have Tyrone Tracy, I'd go Chuba. But since you have Tracy, I think that's the guy.
Yeah, I'm going with Tracy against the Bucks as well instead of Chuba against the Chiefs, and with Jonathan Brooks potentially returning. They want to see maybe what he looks like a little bit, so a little bit less value for Chuba going forward.
And we have a super from AJ.
Yes, I see that. Coach AJ, appreciate that, brother. Would you trade Debo and Khalil Shakir for Drake London? He's 9-2. Debo and Khalil Shakir for Drake London. He is 9-2. Brock Purdy's injury, we don't know. They said that, they were expecting him to play this week. He went out and threw the ball. It did not look good, so they decided to shut him down. We don't know what, if it's going to keep rolling along. I think he'll be back possibly next week. Maybe he sits out one more week. It sounds like general shoulder soreness. I don't know if it's anything more than that right now. So is this a trade you're doing here, Anthony, with the concern with Purdy's shoulder right now?
Debo and Khalil Herbert?
Shakir.
Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, it's got to be Khalil Shakir, yeah.
And that's Drake London. Yeah, I think I'm making that move.
For Drake?
Yeah, I mean...
Drake's off this week, but then he comes back next week. He gets the Chargers. Week 14, he gets Minnesota. And then the fantasy playoffs, he gets Vegas, the Giants, and Washington.
Yeah, outside of last week, he struggled against Tampa somehow, and then in week 1 against Pittsburgh. Every other game, he's been a high floor wide receiver. He gets good enough volume, and the schedule's good. Like, they didn't look great against Denver, but Denver can bring the pass rush, as we know. They're not going to get that type of pass rush every week. Kirk Cousins is going to still be able to throw the football, and they're still playing for something there. It's going to be them or Tampa to win that division. So if they want to try to make a playoff run, Drake London's going to be involved.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to hold on to Khalil and Debo.
Okay.
I think I'm going to hold on. I just, I think Purdy will be back. Khalil Shakir he'll be nice the rest of the way. He'll give you that solid floor. I know London has that upside to explode, but I just think having those two receivers is a little bit safer. Back to the questions again, guys. Like, subscribe, share. Hit us with a super chat. You want to bump the line? We're going to go to Raymond M. Says Alec Pierce, Amir Abdullah, Luke Schoonmaker, Dewan Vele or Jatavian Sanders in the flex. Interesting one during Mageddon here. Who do you like, Anthony, out of these lesser options here in week 12?
I feel like we had the Sanders Schoonmaker earlier. I like Sanders for a little bit more upside. I like Schoonmaker for the floor. Pierce is the most interesting one to me because he gets the matchup against Detroit. He doesn't get a lot of volume, but he's their big play guy. I'm going to go Alec Pierce here. And if you really need floor, then probably Schoonmaker for the floor. But if you're going to go for ceiling, like Pierce has a higher ceiling than Sanders.
Yeah, I would say Abdullah, I guess, because he's a running back and he's expected to get all the carries with, Madison and Zamir Whiteout.
Now, the thing is, Vic Tabor, now I read a report earlier on the show from one beat writer. Their other beat writer who's been there a long time, Vic Tabor, is saying that Dylan Lobby could see a giant role. So we don't really know how this backfield is going to shake out.
Yeah, unless he's maybe he has a love affair with Dylan Lobby. We don't know. But yeah, that is possible. We don't really know. Maybe Abdullah sucks early in the game and they're using Dylan Lobby. Maybe he makes a couple big plays. So I like Alec Pierce too. Again, Colts ran 82%, 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers last week. It's a 49 total. Richardson's going to have to sling it. I like the upside there. So if you need that, I don't mind using Alec Pierce this week. The other options aren't terrible, but I think Pierce or Abdullah for me. Livewire says, do you think Jordan Mason and CMC form a dynamic duo this week with Brandon Allen once again? Are we going to see a lot of Jordan Mason this week? I don't know. Who knows?
I think if the 49ers want to try to make the playoffs, it's not going to be Jordan Mason.
Yeah.
If we see Jordan Mason, then my theory of CMC not being really ready to be back is true.
Yeah.
Like this should be a vintage CMC game where he's getting 10 targets and 20 carries.
Right. Lean on CMC this game. Joshua Carrera says Ferguson is out. Shoemaker did have 10 targets last game. We noted that earlier. Victor Blanco says, I have Josh Allen, Nix, Brees, Jacobs, Rashad White, Eckler, Jamar, Sutton, Neighbors, Jennings, Disley, Kelsey. I'm 5-6. 7th. If I win, I contend. Got offered Amara for Jamar. What's difference? Just bite bullet, hope for W.
So you would be getting Amon-Ra for this week and moving Jamar. Amon-Ra and Jamar, I think they're like head to head in terms of like fantasy points per game and where they are in PPR leaders. So I think
Jamar's got to be he's decent ahead as far as total points though, right?
I'm checking now.
Yeah, Jamar, especially after the last couple weeks, Chase is just going absolutely berserk. 5 touchdowns his last 2 games. So
let's see. Yeah, wow. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. But like in terms of points per game, Chase is 22.9, St. Brown's 19.1.
Yeah. Do you need to make the deal this week? You're 5-6. Yeah, you have Sutton, not bad. Neighbors is not going to play. Then you have Jennings. So Amon-Ra could help you get that W this week. Yeah, I mean, I don't totally hate it, but at the same time, I think I would try to figure it out without him. But there's only 3 weeks left. So
Chase does have a couple of rough matchups. And I'll be, and with these elite players, I don't put that much weight into matchups. But Amon-Ra, I'm looking at his playoff schedule. That's rough too. He gets Chicago twice. Buffalo. Yeah, I might rather keep Chase unless you like look. I need to win this week. I need Amon-Ra this week against Indy. Like you might need that, and then you make that deal. But if you think you can win or even lose and still get into the playoffs, I'm keeping Chase any way I can.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's a rough schedule for Amon-Ra, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to see if I could keep Chase. Plus, Laporte is back. Jameson's back. And they got the running backs. He's still smashing, but Joshua Carrero says Eagles defense just stopped Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, and Noah Brown last week. Do you guys think the Eagles defense will stop Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Puka Nacua?
I mean, Noah Brown, I know the force he is. Tough guy to stop. But no, on a serious note, I think it's going to be close. Like the
Eagles
Eagles
number one
defense,
against fantasy quarterbacks
like
this year, or last 8 weeks rather.
who did they play? Like they got Dallas without
Yeah.
Dak. You know, I don't think like we saw like the Steelers gave the Eagles the formula and the rest of the league to stop Jaden Daniels because Washington's pass catchers, they're not very good. Like McLaurin's nice. The rest of their guys, like
Yeah.
when you're
Well, Daniels is hurt too. There's no doubt he did not look right. So maybe the 10-day rest he looks better, but he did not look right against Philly last game. And you're right.
but
They
would you
played
take
Cooper Rush. They played Trevor
Demarcus
Lawrence.
Demarcus Robinson to me is the number 2 in Washington. He's a 3 in with the Rams.
Yeah.
I would say, the backfields are kind of a wash, even though I do think Washington runs the ball a lot better than the Rams. But in theory, if you can protect Matthew Stafford, he's going to pick. This is a young secondary. It's a very good secondary. There are 2 rookies in there, and Matthew Stafford has seen it all. So, yeah, I would roll the dice on these Rams players.
Yeah, I would bet on Kupp, Nakua, Stafford, and McVay as well. Now, yeah, early in the year, they were letting up some yards. The Eagles defense, 347 to Mayfield, 241 to Cousins, 260 to Love. And then Fangio's defense started adjusting. The rookie corner started playing better, and they've been better. But again, the best quarterback they faced was Burrow. They did a good job against him, 234, 1 touchdown. But the other matchups really didn't play much at all. So Stafford and them could certainly have a big game here. I'm not totally scared. Like it's, just stay away. Tony Nelson says start 3. Standard Puka, so no PPR. Puka versus Philly, CD versus Washington, DK versus Arizona, and McLaurin versus Dallas. We got to pick 3 here, and I think I'm going to take out CD. What do you think?
Puka, McLaurin, CD Lamb's going to sit for me here. I'm with you. He's hurt. And again, like the whole Dan Quinn knowing Cooper Rush, knowing this Cowboys personnel, knowing Mike McCarthy scares the hell out of me.
Yeah. Johnny Detroit, Christian Watson or Michael Pittman? I'm going Christian Watson all day there.
Same here.
Jeffrey Gross, are the 49ers wide receivers still usable? We're getting this question all night this week with Purdy being out. Also, if you do not like taking a flyer on a receiver like Bateman or the receiver from the Pats, or which one you talking about, Douglas, or any other suggestions, or flex Hawk or Andrews? I would go with Hawk or Andrews if you could do that, and sit the Niners receivers if that's what you're talking about.
If you can't go both tight ends, I might leave. I'll go Andrews over Hawkinson, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I give Andrews the edge as well, over Hawkinson. Bateman, not terrible, but the tight ends are better. Greg says, "What's up, Greg? Usual veteran of the show." Jose Rodriguez says, "Who to start? Evans, AJ." Evans against the Giants, AJ against the Rams, Lambs against Washington, or Puka against the Eagles. Just one here. And Anthony, you referenced the Evans history against the Giants.
Yeah, I'll note that again. Mike Evans against the New York Giants, 6 career games since 2008. He has scored a touchdown or gone for 152 yards in every single one. He's gone for over 120 yards and a touchdown, 190 and 3 touchdowns. He absolutely smashes the New York Giants.
Yeah. Are you going with Evans here over these other guys?
Yeah. He's a must start with that history. Plus, wow. Aaron put out a tweet earlier this week about how he's chasing his 11th straight, I think, like 1,000-yard season. He needs like 600 and so yards down the stretch. AJ against the Rams is certainly over Lamb, and Pook against I'll roll the dice on Mike Evans. That trajectory, that historical trajectory, That's like I'll bite into that. Some players just have some teams' numbers and vice versa.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go AJ Brown with no Devonta. That's going to be my pick there.
That doesn't AJ hasn't done even with Devonta, no Devonta. AJ Brown has not been great for fantasy in weeks. He's actually having a down year.
Yeah,
Now,
but he had a big game against them last year, so you can go by that. He had 6 catches for 127 yards, eight targets.
yeah, I mean he's a 4-game scoring drought right now.
He's due, maybe he's due.
He has a 109-yard game against Dallas. Every other game, 84, 36, 65. He's only, his first 2 games of the year, and he had the injury in between. He went for 22 and 23 PPR points, 19, and then it's been on a downward stretch. To me, it's Jalen Hurts. It's not A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts is not throwing the football well.
Yeah, and Barkley's, he's a big factor in the offense as well. Justin Canizaro says Goff or Herbert. Interesting.
I'll go Herbert this week. It's close. But if we're going Herbert over Hurts, then I think we got to go Herbert over Goff. At least I am.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Herbert too. I'll stick with the hot hand. But Goff, was great last week. Sucked the week before. Was great last week, and another good matchup here. Coach AJ says I also have Brees, Josh Jacobs, and Mike Evans. Thank you guys. He had that super chat earlier. What are you saying? Should he trade Debo and Khalil for Drake? Brees, Jacobs, and Evans. Yeah, I mean,
I like the deal.
Yeah, I'm still on the other side. But, if you want to go for London, I don't hate it. Brunel Jacob says Abdullah or Laporta at the flex. I'm going Laporta.
Same here.
Can't go with Abdullah.
Same.
Paul Holthausen. Shout out to Torrey Holt. Please help. Knicks, Darnold, Hunt, McCaffrey, Pacheco, Aaron Jones, only 2. So first the quarterbacks, Knicks, Bo Nix or Darnold. I'm going Bo Nix.
I'll go Knicks here as well.
And then Hunt, McCaffrey, Pacheco, Aaron Jones. You can only pick 2. Go with McCaffrey and Hunt there.
Same here. Aaron Jones kind of been quiet past few weeks. Pacheco's not playing.
Pacheco's out. Right. Aaron Jones might be a little bit banged up. That's why we're seeing a little bit more Cam Akers. And then Sutton, Devonta Smith. Smith is out. Lad McConkey, Metcalf, only 2. So I'm going to go. Well, that's a tough one.
I'm going to go Lad and DK. Sutton. The Raiders, Sutton's been red hot, but the Raiders are actually good against wide receivers. They're like 6th.
Yeah, I don't mind using Lad and Metcalf in high total games.
Yeah.
Sutton has been good. Only 2 here, and then I'm sorry. And then you got a tight end, Kraft or Otten. I'm going with Otten.
I'll go Otten here as well.
Kraft's hard to predict, with all those receivers.
He doesn't even he's popped a lot this year, but he doesn't get volume. So it's he's either gonna get you like a lot or nothing at all. Otten will at least give you a floor.
It seems like most of these Packers like players when they go off, they're like wide open and they catch like 50-yard touchdowns. Josh Robes, Tracy Reed, or Moore. I guess it's Elijah Moore, or DJ Moore rather. Tracy Reed or DJ Moore at the flex. I'm going to go with Tracy.
Who
against the Bucks?
It's if there's
like DJ Moore
a little bit, but I think Tracy's safer.
Yeah.
Again,
definitely.
matchup, opportunity upside, potentially gets more pass catching opportunity. Like Moore has a great matchup, but like Minnesota's a good this could potentially be the game we saw yesterday. It could be because Minnesota's defense good. Chicago is one of the best. This might be a 12-9 game.
Yeah. Again, guys, like the show. If you're listening on Facebook, Twitter, head over to YouTube. Hit us with a super chat if you want to bump the line. We're just going right down the list. We got quite a few questions, but we're cleaning it up. Jose Avalo says, rank my team. Quarterback, Bo Nix. RB's 1 and 2. Jacobs, Brian Robinson. Receivers 1 and 2. Lamb, McConkey. Tight end, Njoku. Flexes, DJ Moore, Irving. Kicker, Sanders. And defense, Steelers. So Nix, Jacobs, Robinson, Lamb, McConkey, tight end, Njoku, DJ Moore, Irving. That's in the B's, right? That's a B team right there.
I would call it right in the middle. I would call it a B. You have the personnel to be an A, but I have question marks about Lamb. Are we going to start getting more consistency from Ladd? Is David Njoku not going to drop plus 320 touchdown fucking tickets like he did yesterday?
Blame the snow or blame it on the rain. As
And then he goes and gets the 2-point conversion. I almost threw my phone through the fucking window. Because I tweet out my plays on my Twitter account, like public plays, and Njoku was one of them. And then on Monday night, Nico Collins was the other, and that one got called back.
That's rough. So you're due Sunday. You're due for a touchdown.
I mean,
on Sunday.
I've been hitting but like the ones like I want my.
Well, I'm saying this week. This week you're due. This week.
If people are tailing, I want them to fucking hit.
Jose Avalo says his bench is Roshan, Jennings, Dobbs, Odunze, and Quentin Johnson. So yeah, that's a good bench. If I need changes, please let me know.
Let me see the bench again.
This is his starting lineup. This is his bench. Roshan, Jennings, Dobbs, Odunze, Quentin Johnson.
I think you're fine. Running back wise, can you flip, one of those receivers for another running back? That's the only thing. Otherwise, you're good because you're deep at receiver, but I wouldn't mind bolstering that running back room a little bit. And I wouldn't give up a lot. Like, can you flip Romeo Doubs? Can you buy low on Madison because he's hurt for the week?
He's got Jacobs, Brian Robinson, and Bucky, and plus Roshan, who's getting more carries under the new coordinator now, it looks like. Jared says, think about benching Jennings. If I do, Alec Pierce or Robinson. I'd go with Pierce. Or you like DeMarcus? But again, he's more of a, I don't know. I guess
DeMarcus is hard.
They're both shots. They're both shots in the wind. They're both hard to predict.
I feel like Pierce is the way to go. But like I said, if I'm scripting out this game, there's a world where they let's take out all the stars, let DeMarcus beat us. Yes, that can happen. But Alec Pierce isn't like the way that they take their deep shot. Like we see Pickens, like they take their deep shots no matter what. Pierce gets two or three deep shots a game.
Yeah.
And they're going to take their shots against the Lions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Rich is like,
it's like MVS. He's not going to get a lot, but they're going to take their shots on MVS. Like, that's like Pierce is a MVS who catches the ball more.
Yeah. Yeah, Pierce is a good receiver. Even Reggie Wayne, he talked up Downs. He talked up Alec Pierce too. He said this guy is a really good freaking receiver, and he is good. I mean, if he wasn't kind of muddled behind these other guys, he'd be more of a standout. I think. Pete says, our boy Pete says, don't forget to like the show. Yes, make sure you like the show. Hit the subscribe button as well. We're doing a contest for a jersey, so if you hit the subscribe button, send us a picture, and we'll put you in the sweepstakes for the jersey that we're going to release around Christmas time. JMW85 says Laporta or Waddle in the flex. I got to go with Laporta. I'm sorry, Laporta. We don't know again with Waddle. John, who's getting more targets. A-Chain's getting more targets. Jalen Waddle's being wasted there in Miami. So it's just been very, very frustrating. I got to go with
Laporta. If you want to get risky, I kind of like Waddle this week. He normally does play well against New England. Yes, it is risky, but if there's any time where you might get a game, like Laporte is your floor play. If you need a ceiling play, go Waddle. It's a gut feeling. I've been out on Waddle a lot this year. This is a week where I'm in a little bit. Like, I'll take his props this week, and I haven't taken a Waddle prop all year.
They played earlier this season. Waddle went 4 for 46. I mean, that's kind of what you get from Waddle. Like every game, he's getting like.
But now it's in Miami. Yards. It's in Miami this time, where Tua does play well at home.
Last time in Miami, let's see what Waddle did. He did have 7 for 121, 12 targets and a touchdown. That was October last year. So Halloween basically last year. So earlier in the season as well. But yeah, I mean, Waddle is like the type of player that should have a 100-yard game like every other game, basically. I mean, he's that good. It's just, he's just kind of buried. And Miami's not really going deep as much as they used to. It's been a lot of, quick short passes this year. So hopefully they open up the offense a little bit. Javier Fiber Seal 2 says Mahomes or Knicks.
I will still go Patrick Mahomes. He looks like he's
Panthers.
playing his best quarterback in a long time. I think back-to-back games with 3 touchdown passes. I will go Patty Mahomes.
Yeah, against the Panthers. Knicks has been great. He's been very, very solid. He's an every week starter right now, in my opinion, in fantasy until kind of proven otherwise. Maybe some matchups down the stretch. Maybe you could fit him, but not here. But yeah, I'll go with Mahomes as well. Justin says, "Thanks, guys." Pete says Daniel Jones to San Fran. Has there been any rumblings with that? I haven't heard that. Is it possible? I guess anything's possible.
If this is a long-term injury, yes, it's possible. But if it's not, then I think this is going to be a weak Band-Aid. But we don't know what the state of the 49ers is. Like, it's not going to happen this week, right? Like, they have their game plan set already. They're not going to go to Daniel Jones right now.
Right. Plus, they have the astronaut, too.
But I think if they do my quick take, if they do sign Daniel Jones, it's because Purdy's going to miss time.
Right.
Like, more than, and what I mean, like time, like not just a game.
Yeah, that would make sense. Paul Holthausen says, "Thank you so much, guys. I am a true fan. Appreciate that, man. Come back again soon." Jose Avalo says, "I have Lamb, but if I want to trade him, who do you think I can get for him?" This is interesting because, deadlines, maybe the trade deadlines are extended in some leagues. Lamb, obviously, with Cooper Rush, wasn't bad last week. And, what do you have, 18 points? So do you need to trade him? Maybe. Cooper Rush did throw for 330 yards last week. The week before that, 45. So it's probably going to be a lot of ups and downs with Lamb. What type of players do you think you can get for CeeDee Lamb right now? You want to just go receiver versus receiver, or throwing some running backs in there as well?
There was a trade earlier involving Lamb, I thought. Wasn't it Devontae Adams and a running back or another receiver, and we liked it?
Oh, yeah, it was Devontae Adams and forget who the other guy was. I have to scroll up and see it. But, yeah, it was a 2-for-1, and I did like that 2-for-1 there. So, yeah, I mean, there's different guys you can get. Maybe you can get – would you rather have J-Mo or Lamb the rest of the way? I still think I'd rather have Lamb.
I like J-Mo a lot, but I think he's very volatile.
Zay Flowers or Lamb, who would you rather have the rest of the way? Wow. I think I'd take Flowers.
Let me see the schedule. Let me see the Flowers, because Lamb has a great schedule. But again, like, are they going to shut him down with another injury? Like, that's the kind of stuff. Plus, like, they're dropping like fly. Dak, Ferguson, like Zach Martin got hurt. Like, this is just a bad year. Like, it's a bad year for the 49ers, a bad year for Dallas, where dudes are just getting hurt. And it's like, do we just think about next year, shut this guy down? Flowers, his schedule isn't great, but I still might want him over Lamb.
Cooper Kupp, DK.
Can you pull off Nico for Lamb?
Oh, well, I definitely would do that. How about Isaiah Pacheco? Would you do that straight up for Lamb?
If you need a running back, yes.
Okay.
I think I would do that if you need a running back.
Yeah, see what you can get for him. Throw it back at us. We'll see what we think. Frank Williams says pick 2 PPR, Debo, Tracy, Evans. I'm going with Tracy and Evans.
Yeah, Debo sits here.
Yep. Jeremy Dagnall says need help. Half PPR. I got AJ, DK, Evans, CMC, Kyron, Tracy. 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. Who to start? I'm worried about Kyron versus the Eagles defense. So he's got AJ Brown, DK Evans, CMC, Kyron, Tracy. So he needs 2 running backs out of CMC, Kyron, and Tracy. I'm going to go with CMC. Shit. That's tough, man. You're pretty stacked there. It's so hard to sit Kyron. Are you going to use Tracy over Kyron? I can't do it.
Kyron's been cold.
Yeah. He hasn't been great.
And they're not using him in the red zone as much. Is he due? Like, can they get back on track? Yes. Tracy's in a smash spot. That's the thing. He has to match up. Like, it's risky to go Tracy over Kyron, but I don't hate it.
And we
But
could
like
still throw him in the flex over one of these receivers.
wide receivers, I might go Evans and DK over AJ or Evans and AJ over DK. I'm not sitting Evans this week.
Yeah. All right. William Snyder says, "Hey fellas, happy Friday. I have Chase on a bye. I traded Chase Brown for Evans a few weeks ago. Do you think he could be back as a true number one to fill in for Chase?" Yeah, 100%. No more Godwin.
Yeah.
He's going to eat up a lot of those targets now. Once again, catch those touchdowns. He's, it was a serious hamstring injury, but he sat out 4 or 5 weeks, or 5 weeks rather. So he's back. He's ready to go. Great matchup, great historic matchup. Anthony's already referenced it several times. So could start this week and could pay off for you. But Chase Brown certainly has been money of late, especially with the injury to Zach Moss. AH says this week PPR wants start Terry McLaurin, Roma Dunze, or Debo. I'm going with McLaurin there. Out of those three receivers.
Yeah, definitely McLaurin. Yeah.
And then flex Bucky Irving or my second best wide receiver from question one.
Bucky against the Giants.
Yeah. Yeah, Bucky's very, very quality running back. He was a little bit banged up before the bye. He gets the bye, so he should be fully healthy now. We're keeping it going in order. Maybe we got another 10, 15 minutes, Anthony, here?
Yeah, where are we question-wise? Yeah, let's go another 10 minutes. I had to eat dinner. I'm hungry.
Yeah, and head over to you.
I got a Hello Fresh coming.
Oh, nice.
Eating.
Yeah, I'm supposed to make tacos tonight.
Mine's a taco bowl.
Oh, nice. That's healthy.
My wife works for UP because she works for UPS, and if they get a Hello Fresh and it's undeliverable,
nice.
She takes them home because they'll throw them away.
Sweet. So what are you eating? Like salmon almond teriyaki
it's
tonight?
Some kind of a rice bowl with ground beef, but it's good food. I don't know if I would pay for it because they don't give you a lot, but it's enough for me and her. Plus, I make a big salad on the side. But I'm not a big fan of wasting food, even food that I throw it out in the yard for the animals. I'm not a big fan of wasting food. A lot of people are hungry. A lot of animals are hungry. So hey, just take it home. If it's undeliverable, what are you gonna do for it? They throw it away. No, you're not throwing that food away.
Yeah, I've tried a few of those food services. They're good. They give you some good ideas, but after week 1 or 2, you're just kind of sick. Yeah. You're just let me just do my own thing again. But definitely good options. Alec Rock says, play Mayfield or Murray this week. Half PPR, 12-man league. Both have great matchups. I think we answered this. Did we answer this earlier between these two? I think we said Kyler, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Antonio Paranello says, with Brock Purdy out, do I stick with Kittle or swap him out for Bowers? Definitely Bowers. I mean, Bowers. Fucking monster.
Yeah.
Was slowing down a little bit.
I was very wrong on Bowers this year. And I'll have to own that one, obviously. But
yeah, you know what, man? I loved Bowers. I wanted the Jets to take him, but even I was a little concerned about all those options there. But, it just shows you, at the end of the day, just bet on talent.
It's the quarterback. It was the quarterback position. I faded Adams hard and Bowers because I didn't trust Gardner. Yeah. And I was right. Because I got a lot of heat about Gardner Minshew. No, look what Gardner did for the Colts. I'm no, that was Steichen.
Yeah.
So, Gardner sucked, but Brock Bowers, like you're saying, that talent is the next level.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I have some Bowers. I just don't have enough. Justin Canizero says Jennings or Downs. We're going Downs. Says, thanks, guys. Javier Fiber Seal 2 says, thanks, fellas. Good luck this week. Good luck to you, man. Enjoy the games. And enjoy some good college football as well. And if you're up northeast, the snow's coming. It's getting cold. Even in Florida, it's going to be 40 degrees tomorrow. Wow. So it's football weather out here too. I'm going to go throw the football around a little bit with my kids tomorrow. Jeremy Dagnall says Nick's love or Kyler.
I'm going Kyler. I said, I believe in this Cardinals team, and Kyler went into the bye playing really good football and tough matchups. This matchup does open up. I believe he's at 23 fantasy points per game career wise against Seattle.
Yeah, if Purdy was playing in this game, I might go Love in a back and forth type shootout, but this could be a lot of, this could be a slowdown game in the second half, maybe more Jacobs in the second half, Emmanuel Wilson. Jaden Reed type slower pace. So I don't mind going Kyler here, although yeah, I think Kyler is very
Yeah.
fine here. Lamb is at least a flex, right? Yes, of course. Jason Poole with Purdy ruled out. Should I start Kittle or should I start Otten instead?
Ooh, I'm still going Kittle here. I'll still go Kittle because I think he could be the hyper. I think target leader wise, it might be Kittle and CMC.
Yeah. I think I'd go out. I don't know if again. I'm scared by fucking Brandon Allen, man. I think he
Me
really sucks.
too, but like Kittle's been the one constant on this team this year,
Yeah, you
which
just
is
kind of like
odd because Kittle's normally volatile, and this year he's been money.
yeah. Kittle's like the type of player like I could be throwing passes out there and he'd
Yeah.
probably catch 4 for 50. Fucking go off. He says appreciate the advice, guys. Love the channel. We appreciate that, man. And Anthony and Hoff started this YouTube show way back when, and it's really grown. So Pete came on board this year. He's done a great job. Aaron, handling the site. So we appreciate all the followers, man. We're just hopefully continue to grow. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, and send us a super chat. Joe Castles says $4.99. With all the buys, I'm in deep. He's in deep waters. If you want to stay,
PG.
PG. Start Nick Westbrook, Akine, or Vele. The Raiders give up slot numbers. So I did a sleeper video. Go check it out. Westbrook, Akine, 5 touchdowns his last 6 games. And the Texans have allowed the second most touchdowns to receivers. So not a bad start. All he does is score touchdowns. Why not keep it going there with Nick Westbrook, Akine? Vele could get you 3 for 50, 4 for 50. I think Westbrook gives you a little bit more upside. What do you think?
It's close. There's volatility with Vele. I don't really love this matchup against the Raiders. And yeah, he's noting that they do give up some slot production. But like Westbrook Ikine, he's been on a little bit of a tear. I don't know if Burks is coming back this week. I think that could potentially hurt Westbrook Ikine. But we saw like Cooper Rush had a nice game. CD had a nice game. Like, there's some holes in that Houston defense, and I might roll with Westbrook Ikine this week. Sounds ugly, but he's a hot hand.
Yeah, it makes sense. Again, 5 touchdowns last 6 games. Texans allowing the second most touchdowns to fantasy receivers. So, they once said Chris Carter only scores touchdowns as well. And here's the link to the sleeper video.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. And Millie C says Stevenson or Ridley PPR if Neighbors is out. Did not practice today. Once again.
We just talked about the production giving up by Houston. Stevenson, I would say Stevenson safer, Ridley for ceiling. That's how I would roll that.
Yeah, I'm with you too. And Ridley has been better of late. Wooly Levis, he's playing a little bit better. Give him credit.
My guy.
Anthony's guy. He took off the FUBU jeans. He's got the Levi's. The girls are loving him once again.
Remember the Jenkos?
The Jenkos, though. I never owned a pair of those. I was never like a big skater dude. But those are so popular with the chain hanging out. And what was the sneakers that everybody wore? The Etnies. Remember the Etnies?
Etnies? Remember soaps where you can glide on the curb and shit?
Oh, yeah. That was huge. Like the skating thing and the punk music. That was a little era there for a while. And the goth. But that's it, man. That's all the questions. If you guys got anything left, we'll stay in a couple minutes. Send us a super chat. We'll answer it, but that's pretty much it, Anthony. If that's it, we could roll out of here.
I just want to show Jenkos. For anybody who doesn't know what Jenkos, look at the sides of those fucking legs.
Yeah, that's great. Look at the guy with the orange shirt. That is just
he loves life right now. And this with the caffeine t-shirt.
Yeah,
he's just happy to be next to a blue haired girl.
Yeah, she's cute. Yeah, they're chilling. Look happy back in the 90s. Oh, we got another question here.
Right. Yeah.
Diddy's baby oil too.
Oh, shit.
No, it's not Diddy's baby oil 1. It's the second time, and Diddy probably used it, maybe 500 times. But Who Dobbins or Ridley, or Chuba Hubbard or Jamison Williamson in the flex? We always get those great names on Twitch. That's why I'm loving having
Twitch is great.
Yeah. Loving Twitch. Dobbins or Ridley, Chuba Hubbard, or Jamison Williamson in the flex. What do you think here?
Dobbins has been good scoring wise, but his yards is a little bit regressive. And then we have Chuba in a tough matchup, Ridley in a great matchup, Jamison Williams in a good matchup. Wow. That's hard. I think the big ceiling play is Ridley or JMO. I think the safe running back play might be Chuba.
I like Jamison, I think, for the total upside. Chuba against the Chiefs, Jonathan Brooks. I think it's Jamison or Dobbins. Dobbins to me is safer. If you want to go with Jamison for the upside, I like that. Ulysses Rosario says, I need to drop one. Stafford, Geno, or Cousins?
Stafford. Is it? I might drop Cousins at this point. I think Cousins might be the drop.
Cousins in the playoffs gets Vegas, Giants, and Washington.
Not great.
Yeah, Stafford gets San Fran, Jets, Arizona, and Geno gets Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago.
Ooh.
I think you're keeping Stafford. It's between Cousins and Geno.
I still think it might be Cousins as the drop, but it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
The issue with Cousins is so not mobile.
Yeah, I'm with
he was beat to shit by Denver to the point where they put in Penix.
Those are my three quarterbacks in that Superflex league, by the way. And then I have Fields. Jared says, thanks, guys. See you Sunday. Thank you, Jared. Jason says, Janko's in Vans shoes.
Vans.
Vans is still a good brand. They make some good shit still. Justin Canizaro says, Jonnu Smith or Andrews? Going with Andrews still. I know Jonnu's been great and been solid of late, especially, but still got to go with Andrews.
Yeah, I'll go Andrews as well.
Forever Eagle says, sup, fellas, should I roll out with Juwan Jennings or should I put Joshua Palmer? I think I'm sticking with Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, Jennings should see a little bit more volume than Palmer. I already like, if you like Quentin Johnston, I like Disley this week. I like Ladd. There's only one football.
Yeah. And Diddy's Baby Oil, too, says, the problem with Jameson, and they are few and far between, the Lions have too many other threats. I mean, the thing with Jameson is he only needs to catch one pass to give you a good day.
That's why I say I go Ridley for the upside.
Yeah, I mean, Jameson, one catch for 60. Ridley's been kind of like that too. And he had a touchdown call back last week. Should have had another touchdown. Ridley can he can catch those deep passes too. But all right, man, I think that's it. We're all wrapped up here.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up. We'll be back Sunday morning for our last minute start sit show. It's usually 10 a.m. We've been kicking off at 9:30 a.m. So if you have any questions, be sure to check us out Sunday morning. But for Steve and myself, this is the Face Off Sports Network. We'll see you next time.